Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. We're coming to you from Gathering Him here at the Hilton. So you know what that means. If you ever need any hotel rooms, event space, make sure you go check out our friends at the Hilton. On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. It is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, ESPN Richmond, 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice, 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, as well as International Business Radio. Hey, you know what? We left the light on, and friends of the family came back. We got the Davises back. Welcome back, folks.
Welcome. Thank you for having us, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything that you're doing.
What we do is we start off with elevator pitch of who you guys are, and then we're going to talk about you guys are doing some really cool things separately as well as collectively.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kelly Swazo Davis, co-founder and CEO of Anchor In. So we are a leadership development firm, coaching, consulting, and also corporate training. So we are here together, so you're dynamic duos.
Yep, my name's Charles Davis, and as Kelly mentioned, Anchor In Leadership. I'm the co-founder and also chief operations officer, and we do a lot of great work with coaching and leadership development training with developing teams and businesses for the future. So, yeah.
You guys are totally big as well into the Chesterfield Chamber. Shout out to all the great work you're doing down at the Chamber. So from a leadership perspective, what are we seeing the shortcomings of now?
That's a good one. That I like that question actually. But today we're what is today? March 2nd.
Yes.
It's Women's History Month. So if we're talking about the shortcomings of leadership, and we have to acknowledge that women are in all those spaces, in all the spaces, in all the industries, and also within leadership positions, but also trying to climb to those leadership positions. So as we're recognizing that it is Women's History Month, we also need to recognize that we need to make a little more room for Black and Latina women and all women across the board when it comes to leadership. So that's right now what we're focusing on. We're working with different teams and really creating that bullseye center of just developing the next executives, the next directors within different organizations. That is government as well as corporate.
So, Mr. Davis, you are currently with Uncle Sam's Army. Shout out to
Yes.
Uncle Sam.
Yes.
I tell people I gave him the best that I had. This is all that's left. This is all that's left. Let's talk. So your wife is on the side of, you talked to her about civilian leadership.
Yes.
Let's talk about the military side of leadership. What's the difference, if there any, between civilian leadership and military leadership?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, with over 20 years of military service, there's a lot. I think that we can find commonality between corporate and government, especially being an Army officer. We look at really developing leaders from the ground up. And what I think the key is developing leaders in teams.
Okay.
And a lot of times we kind of focus on the individual, but you hear the phrase, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yes.
And that's really at the team aspect. And if we focus at building teams and developing leaders at the team level, really that is a game changer. And that's where both corporate and military really, I see, can come together, if that makes sense.
After 20 years, have you seen military leadership, like the tactics and training, change from when you went into now? Has it evolved, or is it pretty much been the same and it's the same way?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. The reason number one is change, right? And I think as leaders, sometimes we resist change, but the best leaders actually accept change. They accept the pain, the uncertainty, and the uncomfortability that comes with leading. So basically with leading, you have to be willing to change. So on the military side, you're always changing. You have to evolve because things around us change. And I think in whatever industry that you're in, you have to know the industry, but also be willing to change, because what leadership looks like now is going to be different in 10 years.
Okay.
So that evolving aspect of leadership, and really the agile leader recognizes that and realizes, I got to put other people around me that are smart in their area as well, so I can adapt to change.
One of Mike, ESPN Richmond, coming to you from Gathering Him here at the fabulous Hilton. How can people find you guys at Anchor?
Yes, so www.anchorin.co. And also
That's
via
co.
email. Yeah,
Don't
co.
put the-
C-O.
Don't become.
put the
Don't
M.
become.
M
Yeah,
on
but
it.
that CO.
Because how many times do people say, I can't find you?
It's true.
That's
You
true.
you are
That's
right.
true.
You are right. But it is .co. It's up and coming. So yeah, no M. And then also you can reach us via email at Kelly
Yes.
at anchorin.co as well. You can find us on LinkedIn, Anchor in Leadership and Coaching. We have a robust following there. And also email ctdavis at anchorin.co. You can find us in all those areas, as well as Instagram and Facebook. You'll be
Yep.
able
And
to
LinkedIn,
see us there.
just Google y'all.
Yep.
That you guys are out there. What does an engagement look like from a business standpoint with Anchor In? So I show up. You guys are there to help me. What's the process, and how long does it take, and what's involved in it?
So we take, let's say we receive an inquiry, we go through that inquiry, we make sure that it's within our capacity, and then we connect with that organization. Whether it's corporate or government, we go in, we assess the situation in the sense of the workplace. We tend to work mainly with directors up to the executive level. However, we work with everyone that's willing to put in the work to lead themselves better and lead others better. So we go through that process, conduct some assessments, some 360 assessments, some personality assessments, and find out one-on-one what is your need as a leader. We work from the leader, from top down, like Charles was just saying. You can only lead your team depending on how good you are as a leader. And then you in fact this like really work with your team on how to be able to do that. We come in, we work with you, then in turn we go ahead and work with your team. So there is a process, a very intentional process of working with the leader to then in turn work with teams to be able to implement that leadership atmosphere and also culture in that organization.
So on the mic with Mike, I'm here with the Davises of Anchor In. They're out there doing some really incredible work. Kelly, you just had a really big event recently over with the Chesterfield Chamber. Shout out to the Chamber and the Business Solutions Summit. I heard you say a line there about measurement.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta drop that on people. I never heard that one before. I haven't heard a lot of things. One of the cool things about having your radio show, people say stuff, you're like, what, really? Okay, drop that on our listeners, what you said there, because instantly you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. So first, just shout out to the Chesterfield Chamber. We have been privileged, I would say, with military life. We belong to like around 10 different chambers across the nation. And if I tell you, some of my chambers out there gonna be like, really, Kelly? But I mean, this chamber here, the Chesterfield Chamber, has really embraced us, has really, we've connected with professionals and business owners, and also the leadership of the chamber. I really believe that that's what makes a difference. So I had the opportunity to chair the committee for the Business Solutions Summit, which was our first one. It was our inaugural.
And you hit it
Business
out the park.
Solutions Summit.
You guys hit it out the park.
Thank you. It was amazing. Our keynote speakers were amazing. The breakout sessions were amazing. So you do not want to miss the one for next year.
That's right.
So Mike is referring there, at the Business Solutions Summit, I had made a comment in reference to leaders, whether you are a first-time leader, an informal leader, a formal leader, an executive, a director. It's very important to understand the fact that we cannot manage what we don't measure. So to be able to do that from employees, from systems, from processes, we must measure what we seek to manage. And it's very different as well when we compare managing people to managing projects. Right now, during the pandemic, we're 3 years in, thank goodness we're coming out of it, but a lot of people were thrusted into leading people. And that's not an easy thing.
Who had never managed people before. One thing that the military does, it helps you learn how to manage people very early.
Yes, it does.
It
does.
18, 19, 20 years old, you're being put in positions of leadership. There are other people who are great at their job.
Yes.
Great salesman. He's just killing the numbers, doing all those things. All of a sudden he gets promoted to be the sales manager. He's a dud.
That's right.
He can't do it because it's not transferable. So How can Anchor In help an organization with something like that?
Wow, that quick. I just want to answer that real quick because it's a multi-layered. So
There we go.
number one, teams, right? Managing and building teams. You want to see an organization that is adaptable, that is built to really thrive. Show me their teams and how well their teams are integrated and how well their shared understanding and shared vision within that team. You show me a well-functioning organization that at the bottom of that, or in at the center of that, sorry, is a well-oiled team. So really, what we coin an anchor team approach
Okay.
is looking at developing, getting better every day as a leader. How do I build others around me to get better every day? And number two, what is that vision? Shared understanding across the board. So, what to make an organization thrive, or to basically outpace your competition?
Yes.
That team development is key, and that's the approach that we bring, not just from the military, but it's consistent across the board,
Across the board. Okay.
across every different market and across every different industry. Is the value and understanding the leader and how they operate within that team.
When we look at implementing change, is it bit by bit, or are we coming in there like we got to turn this battleship around? But now, turning the battleship around, it ain't done on a dime.
That's true. That's
So
true.
What
That's
is
true.
what is it that you think is working best now, or maybe it's I know it's dependent upon organization.
Yeah.
How do you determine when you offer assessments and say these are your marching orders? Is it incremental change, or is it you guys got to do something? Now you got to do something fast.
That,
You want to go with that? We can share it.
we can share that. So we go by that by providing bite-sized, actionable change.
You told me that before. You see, I understand that. I understand the assignment because you told me that before.
Yes.
Right? As they say, that's what you call a cheat sheet.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good student. Very good.
Exactly.
So it's bite-sized, actionable change. We tend to sometimes be reactive instead of being proactive. And other than for the last 12 years, I've operated in the space of entrepreneurship, but I worked 15 years for the DoD, also for different corporate entities, and just realizing and learning from all those different areas of holding informal leadership roles and also holding formal leadership roles, understanding that to get that buy-in for that change, we need to produce bite-sized, actionable changes that we can be able to introduce. And most importantly, that I say this all the time, ask the people that are going to be affected by the change. Ask your teams, ask your customers. I believe truly in polling customers and asking customers, what's going to work for you? Ask your team, hey, is this going to work? We're thinking about this from an executive, bird's eye view, but what is it that you're seeing down in the trenches? What is going on that we need? How can we implement this change slowly, but in a bite-sized, actionable manner?
Yeah. And I would sum that up. The hardest thing, I think, for any organization, like any leader at any level, number one, especially that the pandemic has taught us, is how well do you, as a leader and your organization, deal with chaos?
That's right.
Chaos management.
Yes.
Yes.
The reason why most people, well, no, we're fine. Well, if we peel the layers back, true leadership, important leadership, thrives in the middle of uncertainty and chaos. Leadership is painful. We always hear that leadership is is lonely at the top. However, in all of that, leaders have to provide direction, motivate themselves and others. And where we want our focus is those small actionable steps. So when crisis does come, your business will outpace the competition around you.
All right. On the mic with Mike, we got Charles Davis. Kelly Davis is here with us. There with Anchor In. They're doing some really cool things. Last time, how can people find you out there?
So you can find, both of us, LinkedIn, Anchor In Leadership and Coaching, or www.anchorin.com. anchorin.co with no M at the end.
That's it. CO.
CO, not the
Yeah,
COM.
CO.
Yeah, the
So
CO,
let me
CO.
ask you. So you've lived a lot of places, and we're experiencing that too. So
Yeah.
the idea is, but you go multiple chambers, and your idea of explain to our listeners why you become part of the chamber and what it does for you. Because you're the new folks in town.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
don't know what
That's true.
place is what, but you go to the chamber, and what does that do for you?
It intentionally opens doors. So we are, we self-identify, we are servant leaders, from serving in the military to serving for the government to working our businesses. And for our business, both in the profit and nonprofit space, connecting in the chambers is what really gives us a pulse of the city. From serving, we serve the Chesterfield Food Bank, we serve across different churches, different entities. We have a nonprofit called Aim for Unity, where we focus on literacy and leadership and justice. So to be connected to the chamber is to understand what's happening in our city, being able to listen to the county address, being able to learn what state and local officials are, implementing or proposing. So that's why it's so important, to join the Chesterfield Chamber. Well, the chamber, but here the Chesterfield Chamber is our chamber,
Yeah.
and we love it.
There you go. On the mic with Mike. Well, thanks for spending the time with us. You guys are always welcome. We'll leave the line free.
Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you
Love
for
it.
You
having
guys,
us
what
here.
you guys are doing out there? Hey, we're coming to you from Gathering Him down here at the Hilton. We're here Wednesday nights, so if you want to come down. On the mic with Mike, it is the platform that offers opportunities to nonprofits and business owners who are out there being game changers. So, as I always say, the microphone ain't free,
All right.
but my grandkids need stuff. We got to go. See you.
Bye.